Base covering when lighting the TTC.
Hey everyone, today is Monday, January 25th. The time is 1:15 p.m. and the temperature right now is 1 degree Celsius. I'm here at the intersection of Eglinton Avenue East and Victoria Park Avenue. There's a look north up Victoria Park Avenue and a look back at the 34A Eglinton East to Kennedy Station bus I just got off. And the plan for this one is to walk east through an area in Scarborough known as the Golden Mile. And then I'll continue on east over to Kennedy Station. The entire walk should be somewhere around 3.5 kilometers or so. There's a look south down Victoria Park. And I believe I have just crossed over into Scarborough. Just across the street there on the left is the Golden Mile Mall. That was originally a strip plaza that was anchored by a famous players theater and suffered some fire damage at some point in the 1980s. And it was later rebuilt into a mall. And I think it was originally anchored by a Loblaws superstore, but now it's been changed to No Frills, which is a discount supermarket, part of the same chain. And there's a look at the future O'Connor station. I don't know why it's called O'Connor. It was originally Victoria Park, which would make a lot more sense if you ask me. And that's part of the LRT Crosstown construction. And on the right here is the Eglinton Square shopping center. Maybe I can zoom in a bit. This also opened as a strip mall in the 1950s, but it too was later converted into a mall. I think it's got somewhere around 80 stores. And there's currently a large-scale redevelopment plan on this property to incorporate condos and other mixed-use buildings. So it'll definitely be interesting to come back and watch that development unfold. There's a look at the Golden Mile Mall. And that large tower across the street is the Bell Tower. That's 150 meters tall. It's a telecommunications tower. It was primarily built for long-wave microwave signals, which operates at a line-of-sight basis. However, it's since been rendered obsolete by fiber optics. So I think these days it's used mostly for traditional radio communications, as well as functioning as a cell phone tower. It's something of a landmark in this area. Of course, these malls are for the most part closed due to the current restrictions in place. Most stores that aren't essential retailers are only open for curbside pickup only. And in a lot of cases, they're not even open at all. There's some work happening on the LRT line. So this is definitely a different sort of walk. as this isn't the most urban of areas. And this might be the first walk I've ever done that's entirely in Scarborough. Well, not entirely, I started on the other side of the street, but I crossed over into Scarborough almost right away. So the Golden Mile, which is the stretch of Eglinton I'm walking on now, runs from where I started at Victoria Park Avenue over to Birchmount. And it's primarily a commercial district. It's home to around 56,000 people or so. And prior to World War II, it was primarily farmland. And it was mostly settled by Scottish immigrants in the 1800s. However, in the 1940s, a lot of the land was taken over by the federal government with plans to build munitions plants. And those were to support the war effort. And this area was chosen as it's rather far from what was then a much larger population center in the city of Toronto, so in case there were any accidental detonations or anything like that. It was well out of the way, and this is Pharmacy Avenue, and there's the future home of the Pharmacy Avenue station. It just says pharmacy. You can see it starting to take shape. And I think that's a big box plaza across the street anchored by a Walmart superstore. That's not something you see in Toronto too often. Often when I do these walks, I try to cross over to the more interesting side of the street whenever possible, but as you can see, this is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt just to cross. You pretty much have to wait till you get to the next major intersection. So after World War II, this started to transform into more of an industrial area. The munitions plants were closed, and there was even a General Motors van assembly plant that was in this area, as well as an Inglis appliance plant and a large ball bearing manufacturer. There's a look at Scarborough Toyota. And since then, it slowly started to transition to more of a commercial area, and not a particularly pedestrian-friendly one at that. As you can tell, with all this recessed commercial activity and barren sidewalks, it's definitely an environment that's built for the automobile. And it's one that has been neglected by transit planners for a rather long time. There's a Jollibee across the street there. It's a Filipino fast food chain that's sort of popping up all over the city. There's a look in at the Walmart. Walmart, one of the very fortunate retailers to sort of be chosen by the province, is able to operate pretty much as usual with restrictions on capacity, but not much else. So they are allowed to sell anything and everything, which definitely creates a very unfair playing field, as a lot of these other retailers, because they don't sell food or any essential goods, can't open up. And on the right is another large strip mall plaza. I can't think of any other part of Toronto that has such a concentration of strip malls and big box retailers and suburban style power centers. It's almost bizarre. This is, for the most part, a low-rise residential area. You don't see too much in the way of mid-rises or high-rises. And here's a large plaza on the right with a very large Cineplex Odeon way in the back of the property. That definitely reminds me of the type of thing you'd more or less see in the suburbs and not so much the city. Essentially, Scarborough is sort of a older, more built up, slightly more urban suburb. I really wouldn't call this much of an urban environment. And this is Hakimi Lubavitch Station. That's going to be a hard one to pronounce. I'm sure I got that wrong. And on the right is Eglinton Town Center. You can get a look at the Cineplex Odeon, which obviously isn't open. There's an Old Navy beside it, and another of other big box retailers. Not sure what intersection this is. I would guess it would be named Hakimi Lubavitch after that stop, but I don't see any street signs. What kind of horrible design is this? Am I blind? What street is this? Doesn't say so on that tower. This is rather abysmal. I know it's an active construction site, but still no street signs. As Hank Hill would say, what in the hell? So this would be the third LRT stop that I'll be walking past. After this should be Golden Mile, then Birchmount, then Iron View, and then Kennedy. The Eglinton LRT project consists of 25 stops, most of which on the west side of the line are underground. And out here on the east side, primarily in Scarborough, are above ground. And the line only goes as far as Kennedy Station, where I hope to be finishing this walk. It's providing we ever get to cross the street here. The LRT actually began initial construction as far back as 2011. Although it wasn't until a few years later that the tunnel boring machines came out on the western side. It was supposed to open this year in 2021, but now they're saying it won't open until 2022 at the earliest. Or I think it was supposed to open even prior to 2021. It's definitely suffered numerous delays. Here's the Ontario Court of Justice, 1911 Eglinton Avenue East. So here's a more traditional strip mall. There's a place called Dolphin Gaming. That definitely has me curious, although unfortunately they're not open. There's a Toronto police vehicle just going for a drive. And on the left is another big power center, Eglinton Corners. There's a large brick, HomeSense and Best Buy anchoring that plaza, all of which would not be open to in-store shopping. And even if there weren't any stay-at-home orders right now or restrictions in place, I'm not sure there would be a whole lot of pedestrian activity in this area. The only other time I've come down here on the channel is to record a bike ride. And that was back in the summer. I went all the way across Eglinton Avenue East. So coming up here is Warden Avenue. Merchants Flea Market. This LRT line will start at Mount Dennis to the west in Etobicoke. At least I think that's Etobicoke, and it'll run east to Kennedy. So it won't quite go across Toronto. Ideally, it would have started at the airport to the west and kept going east all the way to Kingston Road and then north up to Malvern. And I think there's actually plans to extend the line, or rather pipe dreams to extend the line east from Kennedy, or build a separate LRT, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and then head over to Kingston Road and up to Malvern. So there's a look south down Warden, and again, no street signs. I don't know why they don't have street signs in the intersections themselves. There's one on that post way down there. Oh, that's neat. There's a Five Guys down there. I think there's also a Burrito Boys down there on the left. And some more plazas, not unlike what we're going by here on Eglinton. There's the 68 Warden bus. So I'm sure this is one of those areas where a lot of viewers are a lot more familiar with it than I am. I'm constantly getting requests to come out to Scarborough and make some videos. So here we are. If you have any ideas for other parts of Scarborough that might make for an interesting video, let me know. So this LRT stop is Golden Mile. And I think the Golden Mile ends at the next major intersection at Birchmount. So for a lot of this stretch, it'll really look no different than a streetcar line. There's the 34A. That bus will be going to Kennedy Station, and it started at Eglinton Station. Here's something you don't see every day here, a person. It'll definitely be interesting to see how this area transforms once the LRT is in place. A lot of the people in this area don't really have good transit access to downtown. Scarborough itself is something of a transit afterthought. So I would suspect the primary use of this line would be to take people over to Eglinton Station so they can jump on line 1 and head south down into the city, or rather the downtown area, or north up to North York. I think the best way to do that from here would be probably just to go east to Kennedy and then take line 2 all the way across. Or one of these buses south down to the Danforth line somewhere and jump on the subway. I don't really know, but it's certainly not ideal. So it'll be interesting to see if more condos and urban developments pop up, if there'll be more people on the streets. I don't know how you fix these strip malls. These are definitely car-centric designs. There's a laser quest. I remember commenting when I saw that on my bike ride. I was wondering if I was in Mississauga circa the 80s or 90s. You don't really see laser tag too much these days. I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm on the slightly less interesting side of the street. I am walking east on the south side. There seems to be a bit more development worth checking out on the north side, but then again, it's all these recessed plazas, so I don't really think it would make much of a better video if I was over there. There's a large Costco wholesale business center and a Staples. I don't really understand what's keeping them in business these days. There's a large PetSmart and a Structube. More parking lots. I don't know what this facility is here. I'm also kind of wondering where all the people that frequent this stretch must actually live. There doesn't seem to be any corridors or clusters of apartment buildings. Yet this is obviously one of the main primary retail destinations. There's an Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I know they've been really hit really hard by this pandemic. Certainly a lot less travel, particularly business travel that would keep them busy during the week. And it's the Arcadia House, authentic Greek cuisine. It looks like this place built a rather neat, extensive outdoor patio, and I even see some heat lamps popping up. But unfortunately, they're not allowed to serve customers even outdoors. And this is Sinot Road. So it looks like we've hit an area of commercial office complexes. There's an apartment building lurking back there. And this here is the Scotiabank Eglinton campus. I have no idea what purpose this serves. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume this wasn't built originally by Scotiabank. Definitely has the look of a provincial office building. There's a Mandarin buffet over there. I ordered takeout from the Mandarin at Yonge and Eglinton. It was pretty good. So this here is Birchmount Road. This should be the end of the Golden Mile, and then I'll be entering an area called Ion View. And I'll be able to keep on heading east to Kennedy Station. Really have no idea how long it'll take to get there. We are a little under 28 minutes into this walk. I'm assuming I'm well over the halfway point, or at least past the halfway point. And there's a place called Strides Toronto. Wonder if they're any relation to the YouTube channel. Here comes a fire engine up Birchmount. There's the Westminster Presbyterian Church. It seems to be connected to a condo or some kind of residence. I suppose I could have just ended this video here and called it the Golden Mile, but let's keep walking. Here's the future home of Birchmount. And this doesn't look too pedestrian friendly for a major street. Actually, in 2009, according to the Canadian Automobile Association, this is the worst street in the province of Ontario. And I absolutely believe it. The quality of the road is rather terrible for the most part. And it's just plagued by this construction. And I was fairly appalled when I took my bicycle down it, or along it. It was one of those things where I figured it couldn't be that bad, but it absolutely was. Bachelor's 1 and 2 bedroom. Oh. Or emergency vehicles responding to a call, I guess. So we have low-rise apartments on this side. There's a strip mall on the other side. Ion View Court, eco-friendly building, bright spaces, renovated, bachelors, 1 and 2 bedrooms. I wonder what the rents are like in here. Happy Land Pub and Fast Food. I'm kind of tempted to cross over to the other side of the street. But knowing my luck, when I get there, all the interesting stuff will be on this side. Beautiful rental suites available. I'm seeing more and more advertisements for properties for rent these days than prior to the pandemic. Perhaps all the Airbnbs being rendered useless and turning into more traditional condos, and as rentals are being sold, has for the first time in a long time created some somewhat favorable rental conditions. I'm not really sure. Here's Rosemount Drive. Okay, let's do it. Let's cross the road. All right, now I'm on the north side of Eglinton. As I was saying earlier, sorry, I'm curious to see what will become of this stretch maybe 5-10 years after the LRT line is in place. Are we going to start to see a lot of these buildings get bought up by developers and get redeveloped? Will there be a move away from the strip malls and more traditional urban style retail presences? Here's Ion View Station. So the next one should be Kennedy. So I'm assuming the street up here is Kennedy Road. And just beyond that will be Kennedy Station, which is the terminus of Line 2. It's also the start of the Scarborough RT. Oh great, I think I actually want to be on the other side here. It's kind of an interesting plaza. There's a look to the west. I remember seeing this when I rode my bike through here. And I was kind of curious, is this whole plaza up for redevelopment, or have all their tenants just gone belly up? I don't really understand what's going on here. But across the street, everything seems to be normal. There's even a library branch in that plaza. But over here, look what we have. Everything's just boarded up. Although there's still some shops operating. There's even a for rent sign underneath that dental clinic. They've taken out the plaza entrance sign. Haircut, $8. $8? Where was this place when I needed a haircut? So Scarborough itself occupies the eastern part of Toronto. It was amalgamated into the megacity in 1998. And the majority of its population are immigrants who are new to the country over the last 4 decades or so. So much like the rest of Toronto, it's quite renowned for its international cuisine. Everywhere you look, there's a Chinese Hakka fusion restaurant right next to Caribbean Splash. We're definitely is more like it, spoiled in Toronto with such a range of different authentic international cuisine. I think only New York probably has us beat in that category. So Kennedy Station, where I'm approaching, which is just past Kennedy Road here, which does have a street sign on it. So why this intersection, but not the other ones? Anyway, Kennedy opened in 1980. And the RT line, which runs north up to just past Scarborough Town Centre, opened in 1985. And it is the 5th busiest station in the city. I don't recall seeing an entrance to the station on the north side of Eglinton. And it looks to be like the LRT connection here is going to be underground, as I don't see any tracks at surface level. There's a 43 Kennedy to Steeles bus and a 34A behind it. I think that's the one I would want to take. All right, so I'm guessing I stay here. I didn't really think this one through. I'm assuming a major subway station would be relatively easy to find and spot when you get to Kennedy and Eglinton, but That's not the case. I don't see any signs or markings or anything. I guess it's just one of those things where they assume you're a resident and know where you're going and what you're doing. Did I miss a sign? I'm assuming the station is down this way. I didn't really think to check this part out on Google Maps. And you can tell I'm certainly not used to navigating this part of the city. I'm assuming this is all part of the crosstown construction, but there's an Islamic center. Let's see if this truck tries to kill me. So I imagine at some point this will all open and face the street. Crosslink Transit Solutions constructors for Kennedy Station. I somehow seem to be heading along the correct path. There's a passenger pickup. So this kind of reminds me a bit of Kipling Station on the West End in Etobicoke, which is south of Dundas and seems a bit disconnected from the immediate community it serves. It's certainly not pedestrian friendly. There's also a GO train platform here. Where exactly do they expect me to go? Down here? Or just cross over into that bus area? Let me slide my mask on. So we're just supposed to come over this way. Let's take a look at the northbound RT platform. So this is the terminal station for the RT line. I probably Could have made a video on this station alone. I think that's the GO train platform over there. That's a commuter rail system. I don't seem to recall tapping in. Did I skip a gate? How was I able to get up to the, I don't know if my mind's playing tricks on me, but I seem to be inside the fare paid zone. Certainly kind of a dingy platform down here. Maybe I missed a sign, but I seem to have wandered into where I wasn't supposed to. I can't remember if I tapped in or not. Oh well. So I'm going to head up and find a bus. But before I do that, exit to Community Center. Need to do the right thing here. See, had I have tapped my way in, I don't think that would have accepted my card. I think it blocks you out from tapping back in every 5 minutes. I apologize if I broke any bylaws on that. I would chalk that up to extremely poor signage. (34) Eglinton East in 2 minutes. Okay, so here we go. I am going to take the 34 Eglinton bus back to Yonge and Eglinton, where I started. I hope you enjoyed this walk along the Golden Mile and through Scarborough. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you'd like to see more walks from Scarborough, let me know as well. If you wish to support the channel, there's a link to my Instagram in the description, as well as my Patreon account. And you can check out channel memberships on the main page. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.